So I've navigated to the Class 1 notebook site. Now this might look a little bit different than yours, but what we're going to look for here is where it says editing a sample picture in Lightroom. You need to download this particular file. Now you won't see a video here right now because I'm actually recording it as we're speaking, but when you click on this link here, it's going to open up and say, hey, what do you want to do with this? I want you to download this, and where I want you to download it to is under the D drive, because that's our unfrozen area, remember? And under Carnelli, your name, and we're just going to make sure it's right there in the root directory of your name. And you can see I've actually got that done already because it'll take a few minutes for you to actually download it. It's quite a large file. So here it is. I've just opened up that same window again. But now, in order to unzip it, some of you might know how to do this already. You're going to right-click on it, extract all. Make sure where it says show extracted files when complete is unchecked, and then go ahead and extract. And it might take a couple seconds for you to do it. Once you've extracted them, you can delete that zip file, so we can right click on and just delete it. And if I open up the Pix for Basic Editing System, you can see that I've set up a whole bunch of catalogs here. And there they are. Okay, I want you to go ahead and do that, so stop the video at this point, and when you're ready to come back and we'll do some basic editing, go ahead and do that. So we're back. Hopefully you've unzipped all these files, and you can see that I have a whole bunch of different folders in here, and in each of these folders I've got different pictures. We're going to be adding those to the Lightroom catalog, which I've gone ahead and done already. I've created a new collection here called Pics for Basic Editing, and then I've got all of my different pictures in here. And I want to make sure you have them lined up exactly the same way as I did in the folders. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that after you're finished watching this little section of the video. All right, the one we're going to be working on today is where it says Editing Part 1. There's 6 photos in that. And you can see some of them are really good and some of them are like, wow, what was I thinking? Well, we can work on all of these. So the first one, I want you to click on this first one. This is actually my nephew, Sam. He was about 8 or 9 years old at this time. He's now like 30 years old. He's a chef in Vancouver. He has about 4,000 tattoos and about 4,000 piercings. Doesn't look anything like this. So I'm going to open that particular picture up, and we can actually see when I double click on it, it goes full screen for you. Now, what's really cool about this program is we're not actually editing the photo, we're editing a link to the photo. So we can do a whole bunch of different changes to this, and we can see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to, this is called the film strip down here, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to choose Create a Virtual Copy. And now what I've done is I've got 2 copies of this picture. They're exactly the same. Okay, up at the top here, I can actually see this is Sam1 JPEG. If I click the next one, it says it's a copy. Okay, we're not actually editing the original picture, but we're going to make a copy, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. I want to do a before and after so you can see the difference. Okay, so we need to change our modules. Up here in the top left-hand corner, we have a library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, and web. We're basically going to live in the library, the develop, and the print modules. So let's click on the develop one right now. And you can see when I do that, this left-hand side changes dramatically. Well, let's look at our picture. First thing I notice right off the bat is he has these red eyes. This is a really common problem in pictures, and I see this all the time when I look at pictures. Somebody has got red eyes. I refer to them as the devil's eyes. Really easy to fix in Lightroom. Over here on this little panel, we actually have this little button here, and it says red eye correction. So I'm going to click on it, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor right in the middle of the eye, and I'm going to drag out and up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just holding down my left mouse button, then I'm going to release it, and magically Adobe fixes the red eye. I'm going to do the same thing right here, just drag it out a little bit, and both red eyes are gone. When I'm happy with that, I can click on done, and now you can actually see that the red eye is done. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is this background. This is a snapshot at a Christmas time. This is my brother in the background here. Yes, hairy legs and everything. I want to actually crop out an awful lot of stuff on this side. What crop is basically getting rid of the garbage part of the picture that we don't want. So I'm going to click on this little box right here where it says crop. When I do that, I get this crop overlay. Well, I can actually resize it. So I'm going to go up into the top left-hand corner. I'm going to drag down, and I'm just holding down my left mouse button, and I'm going to drag down over here now, make it a little bit better. I'm going to drag up just a little bit because I want to make sure that I've got a pretty good picture. Now, do you see the grids? That's called the rule of thirds. I also refer to that as tic-tac-toe, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on in one of our projects. But what I want to try and do is I want to try and keep his eyes at the top part of this line. So I might have to bring it down, yeah, about there. And I want to try and keep the interest over on this side. So where these lines intersect, I've kind of got some interest. We also have a diagonal here. Okay, when I'm happy with it, I'm going to click on Done. There we go. I've now just cropped it. So let's go back to the original. Go back to the photo on the film strip. There's the original. Red eye's gone. And already it's much, much better. So now let's do some actual editing. We've cropped out the garbage. We've just got rid of the red eye. Let's do a little bit of stuff. We've got all these sliders over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the black point and then the white point. Those are the first two things we're going to do. So here's the black. And we've got these sliders. Now I could just move them over and everything else, and we've got all sorts of stuff. And this is called a character. If I double click on the character, it goes right back to the middle. But here's the really cool thing. If I hold down the Alt key on the keyboard right next to the space bar, and then I start dragging this to the left, see it goes white? I'm going to start dragging until I get a little bit of color in there. That means that that area is pure black. When I'm happy, I'm going to release both the Alt key and the character. I'm going to do the same thing with the white key. Hold down the Alt key, drag it over to the right until I start getting some color coming in. You can see I had to go way over. There we go. Now that might be a little bit too much, so I'm going to drag it back just a little bit. But that's going to give me a good white point and a black point. Okay, so now what we have to look is at the overall color of the photograph. Up here we have this color temperature. I'm going to click on the white balance selector. That's a little eyedropper. Now you would think you click on something that's white here. You actually don't. You click on something that's kind of a medium gray. This picture is perfect because it's got this medium gray shirt. So let's just kind of click right there. And did you see how it changed here? There's the information. So let's go back to the first one. Here's the first picture. Here's the second picture. So we've already got a lot better looking here. We've got a couple more things we want to do here. I'm going to take my clarity, I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Clarity gives a little bit more of a punch to the picture. So somewhere between 30, actually about 20 and 50 is about where you want to go. I'm going to go 24 on this one. And I'm just moving the slider, holding down my left mouse button and looking. I'm going to take the vibrance. I can slide it all the way to the left. It goes kind of washed out. All the way to the right, it gets really ugly. I'm going to bring up just a little bit of vibrance. I'm leaving saturation completely alone. Okay, I'm done. That's all I need to worry about at this point. So let's have a look at the first picture. There's the first picture, and here's the second picture. Pretty good looking, isn't it? Okay, let's do one more really quickly here, and then I'll do another tutorial. But let's go to this guy right here. So there's my picture here. Obviously, we've got some problems. The sky is really washed out here, but more importantly, Sam doesn't have a lot of good-looking stuff on, and so it's a little dark for him. So I'm going to right-click, and we're going to make a virtual copy so I can go back. Now, you don't have to do that on all your pictures. I do that just so that you can see the before and then the after. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's have a look at the overall picture. I'm going to take my exposure. I'm going to bring it way down to see if we've got any information in the sky. We really don't. There's nothing really good about the sky, so I'm going to double-click on it to go back to the middle. So let's leave it kind of washed out. Blacks, they're looking okay. The whites, we don't want to touch anything. But in this case, let's take our shadows. This slider right here, and I'm going to move it way over and see how we can bring up the shadows a lot. Okay, so when we start doing that, we get a little bit of a washed out look. So now I'm just going to take my blacks. I'm not going to worry about a black point. I'm just going to bring it down until it looks good to me. That's a little bit better. Let's take my clarity up a little bit again. Let's take my vibrance up a little bit. Now let's try my color balance. I'm thinking the hat right there. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's try another spot. Let's try right there. I like that better. I like it a little bit warmer. Warmer means it's going more to the orange. Cooler means it's going to the blue. Okay, so now we have a before and an after. Is there anything great about either of these photos? Not really. They're just snapshots, but they're kind of important for the history. And look at how much we can change. Here's the first one, and then there's the second one. Lots of changes. So go ahead and do all of those little edits. Don't worry about saving because it automatically saves for you. And then come back and I'm going to show you we're going to adjust this one. We're going to see some really big changes with this one. Okay, go ahead and work on those two pictures for me.